Morning. Right. Morning. Massage chair at Planet Fitness. I bet you set off the lunk alarm all the time, Falco. Epic Pikachu. Hi. Golly. You don't have to scream at me. Hello. Simple hi gets the job done. Am I gonna get to the topics I didn't get to last time? Nope. No, I'm not. AC-ing. Icing. Acing. I saw all the sports channels focusing exclusively on that. Yes. Icing on the cake. Let's go. Hawkins. Welcome in, Hawkins. I mean, I've seen the highlights or the score of all week 3 NFL stuff. The only games I sat down and watched were the college games on Saturday. Colorado, Oregon. I watched the first drive of that, and I knew that was going to be a bloodbath. I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. Oregon's a little different than Colorado State, it turns out. And I watched Notre Dame and Ohio State, and that was a classic. Instant classic. I enjoy watching Ohio State, Notre Dame, because I want them both to lose, and I know no matter what, one of them's going to lose. So it's like, yes, I'm going to be happy regardless of what happens in this one. Rose Arrow. Welcome in. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you are calculating how many divs you need to fit 618 teams equally, stripping off your suit in between sets on stream, DMing me about winning from the ink up, asking if that bans you from low ink. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. It is Ludi seeding week. And if you haven't seen the news, the last season of Ludi had, 420, 30-ish kind of teams in it. The amount of teams currently signed up at the end of registration for this Ludi season was at 618. Now, some teams have already dropped, and you'll see more teams drop over the course of this weekend. You'll see a lot of teams drop after they take their first loss in week 1. But the number at closing officially stands at 618. I don't. So I'm behind. There's several other people in the council that are already way ahead of me. But for those of you who have watched some of my other episodes past years or so about how I kind of break things down, I like to do pen and paper. I'm very pen and paper-ish kind of stuff when I do TOing or seeding or anything like that. So I printed off my list of all the teams, and once I put them in a div, I'll cross them off. This packet is 19 pages long. So who knows? Now it's not going to be that bad. Honestly, it's not going to be that bad. It's I seeded like 3 teams for Flutie. Flutie had over 300 teams, and they were able to seed all of them in a day, and for the most part got it right. I mean, there were a few teams here and there who got a shot in the Div S of Flutie and just didn't take advantage of that opportunity, but everybody else for the most part was pretty much spot on. So the divs are going to be fine. Like 99% of you are going to be put into the correct div that you're supposed to be. It's just kind of mind-boggling to think How we're going to get there from here to there by Saturday, I don't know, but it's going to happen. It's going to be fine. And to the college teams, you guys are my priority this time around. I admitted personally that I screwed up with seeding for the college teams. I know there was a tournament 2 Saturdays ago, so there's some info to look at. I'm going to try my best to help the college teams get into the correct div this time around. I know other people in the council are going to be reaching out to some CCA members probably to get that going there. News of tournaments that may be of interest to the casual listener of the Popcast. Keep in mind, members of the Ludi Seating Council pay a lot of attention to tournaments this week. If you want to separate yourself from the pack of the 618 teams, playing in a tournament this week is a really good way to do that because the council is extra sensitive to results that are going on right now. And if you're someone nobody's ever heard of, and you play an SOS and pop off, the members of the seating council are going to go, hey, I remember seeing that name. That was a stupid team name. But here, I see them getting results in this. They're clearly Div 2 or whatever. So play in tournaments this week. This is the best thing you can do is play in tournaments this week. First off, Little Squid League is taking place on Saturday. You got Proving Grounds on Friday. You got Under Pressure's Krill Streak tournament is going on Wednesday. I believe at the same time the SOS was usually going on. SOS isn't going on this week. It's the last week of the month. Paddling pool is going on. I don't think there's a Triton Cup. I think Triton Cup was last weekend. There is a Squid Junction going on this Saturday as well, on top of SAC going on Saturday. So there's probably some other tournament going on there all across the place. My point being, there's no excuse for you guys not to be playing in stuff this week. If you don't play in anything this week and you didn't put down any information on your Ludi Div, there is a Div 14 with your name on it. Not confirming there's going to be a Div 14, but if things work out that way, you're going to have a big old 14 stamped on your head for an entire year, kid. So do yourself some favors. Get some results this week. Today, we are going to be recapping Superjump number 3, which apparently is one word, even though Google would suggest it's not. All of the stuff that entails. We're going to be talking about the results, Twitter, and we're also going to be looking at the weekly recap with an actual legit sponsor, or at least something that's not a joke this time around. All that and more. But first, the term major holds no true definition. But we could all agree that however you define it, these tournaments belong in the same kind of category together and should be considered a major by every made-up definition that we have in this community. Superjumps, 20XX, Stormbreak, the Splatamax tournaments, all should be considered majors, as far as I'm concerned. All of those events had one thing in common. They've been won by a team that had 3 players from Japan in it and 1 player from the West. No Western team has ever won a major. Now, I don't pay attention to chat, but I can already sense that somebody's going to throw this one. But Pop Gun, what about the Ink TV Resurgence League? No, don't you dare bring that up, because A, it doesn't work in the context of what I'm trying to get to, because only teams from the West play the Ink TV Resurgence League. So there, I just manangled the definition of major to fit whatever I want the narrative of my context to be. So there you go. That's why Ink TV doesn't count. With that being said, Jackpot becomes the first Western team to win an international major since before Superjump 1 happened in Splatoon 2's era. I don't know what tournament it is. to be honest with you, I don't know what the last major tournament is. Now, if you want to include Mode Cups as majors, I wouldn't, because it's a one-day event. It's a double elimination straight up from the jump. But if you want to include that, then yeah, you can say Jackpot's already done that. But as far as international two-day majors are concerned, Japan has come over here and whooped our behinds time and time and time and time again. They get knocked out early before they make grand finals, have to make a run in the losers bracket, and then in the losers bracket, when they get to grand finals, turn on the gas and just beat the dog crap out of our best Western teams. FT Wins, Starburst, Jackpot, all falling prey to whatever monster from Japan wants to come over, take our prize money, and escape off into the night. But finally, Jackpot held their ground and said, not this time. It might be the dead middle of the night on Monday morning for you guys, and it might be the perfect time for us to be playing competitive Splatoon on Sunday afternoon, and we should be having every single advantage over you guys possible, but we're still going to make sure you don't win our tournament this time around. Congratulations, Jackpot. Now, the narrative that some of you might be thinking now, with that context being said, does this mean we've closed the gap with Japan? Now, if it's a thought to have for anybody that's paid attention to any tournament in the Splat World Championship, you would come out to a realization that, oh no, the gap hasn't closed. In fact, the gap is so massively wide that it's comical at this point. But a step in the right direction, technically closing from this to this, I guess, is a Western team winning an international major hosted by the West. And Jackpot was able to get it done. So no, even though the closing the gap with Japan narrative is is dumb, I wish that was the narrative that we were going with once this tournament concluded on Sunday afternoon. Instead, the narrative that we went with was talking about alias rules. Alias rules. Now, do I want to sit here and talk about alias rules again after I did a whole segment a couple of months ago about the SOS situation? No, I don't. I really don't. Now, the TO in me has to talk about it at IPL at some point. To full disclosure, I wasn't a part of the TOing for the Superjump event. I was just part of the seating council, and I didn't even do that very well. But there's still some things to look at from that and to talk about on the TOing side. But from the podcasting side, the podcasting hat that I'm wearing right here, do I really want to talk about this? No. But it would be disingenuous, if that is the correct use of that term, for me to not talk about it to at least some extent. So I will talk about it to at least some extent. At this point, players using an alias is dumb, stupid. I don't know. I can't. It just doesn't make any sense to me why this is a hill that players would want to fight and die on. The right to change your name to something in a tournament. Now, I get most people, the overwhelming majority of people that use this aliases are not using it in a malicious way. We joke and say that people are using aliases to name themselves Poopy Butthole. That's not really the case. The vast majority of the time, they're just adding in their team tag, which is what Alliance Rogue was doing, or a star in front of their name, or whatever, to make the name match, because their splash tag is usually something different. And quite honest with you, I wouldn't mind personally changing my splash tag to something that's not Pop Gun, just so I can play solo queue without you guys DMing me every single time I'm in your lobby. So that when I go into a tournament, then I'll change it using the alias feature to Pop Gun and the team tag that I'm playing for. Obviously, I haven't played in tournaments since the aliases have become a thing, but I can see that mentality. But still, the possibility for malicious nonsense to take place is why TOs have been trying to eliminate aliases from the competitive scene as a whole. But at the end of the day, is it something to where we see very seriously strong takes from players and from TOs? Is it really that deep? My God, it's not. It's absolutely not. And at this point, I think as TOs, we just got to say it's not worth it. It's really not worth it being like dying on this hill. If the players are this passionate about having aliases in their name, I think it's time to just say, you got it. There's going to be some issues that go along with it. But if I'm being completely honest, it's not that deep. And the fact that that's the narrative, that's the conversation going on Twitter is about freaking aliases. At this point, you just got to say, enough's enough. Let's just listen to what the players are saying, respond to them, and try to give them the tournaments they want to do. To be fair, there's some rules that need overlooking. And there was some rulings made by TOs about the alias thing that were incorrect, and that's led to this boiling up thing. If there was more from the jump warnings being given out, and it was met so harshly at the beginning, maybe everyone's viewpoint of aliases would be different. But it's just so crazy right now that I think it's just time to just step back and let's just say, let's let aliases fly. And I still can't name yourself Poopy Butthole, but still, I think that's the way to go. I mean, there's other rules to look at as well. The match canceling thing has been a big frustration for TOs. We made rules about match canceling once that first got announced because we're like, okay, this could get out of control. Like, we could see people rage quitting and stuff and just ending games straight up. So, like, we made rules at the time that made sense. But now that it's been several months since match canceling has been a thing, it's probably time to revisit rules like that as well. Same thing with aliases, and just making sure everything's in line to where we're not so, as TOs, Captain Hardassy about things that don't really make that big of a sense. Yes, I'm going to allow butthole in my chat. If there you go. Thank you, AutoMod. We wouldn't want that to slip through here. So there you go. That's my stance on the whole alias thing. That's it. That's it. If you want a more in-depth thought, just copy and paste the thing I said about SOS 8 episodes ago, whatever, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was that. But here's the thing. I'm frustrated with IPL. Not because of the alias thing. There's a different point, and I wish this was the topic of conversation that Twitter was going bananas about, instead of rules that had zero impact on the game. Like, players weren't using aliases to be malicious, and it didn't affect the final outcome of the game. Here's the focal point that I want us to kind of get into with this. And this is something that I brought up to the Superjump TOs at the very beginning, once the Superjump was kind of initialized and we knew we were going to do Superjump 3 and planning for this event began. This was something I was trying to really harp down. Why is it that we are giving 100% of the donations and prize pools of this event to the players and 0% of it to the TOs? Why? I don't understand why we do that. And before somebody clips this out of context, let me just say I 100% agree that the players for this Superjump event deserve every single penny that they got, because they put on a doggone show yesterday. It was fantastic. I was on the edge of my seat watching every single one of those sets. Extremely entertaining, high-level competitive Splatoon. But without the TOs, This event has no prize, no stream, no donations, no recognition. There's no doggone tournament without the TOs. So why can't the TOs start being a little bit selfish and start to think, why can't we take some of that money for ourselves? And I'm not sitting here saying that we're going to be giving enough money to where we can supplement somebody's income or that we can even give somebody a tank of gas, but still just something. Going back towards the TOs is a huge step into the right direction. And it doesn't have to be, even if it was just to the organizations instead. Even if the TOs didn't want it, the producers didn't want it, give it back to the organizations. Do you guys know what I could do with Proving Grounds with a budget? If I had a $500 budget, which would have been half of what the donations were for Superjump, you know what I could do with that event? I could pay my streamer. I could pay our commentators. I could have a prize pool, which would draw in those teams we actually want to sign up for Superjump. Like, we could do so much, but we don't. We don't have this mindset of splitting things equally. And would anybody who donated yesterday donate less money or not donate at all if they knew ahead of time that 50% of the proceeds were going to go to the players and the other 50 cents was going to go to the organization? I would argue more people would have donated because some people just like supporting competitive Splatoon. And not just the players that are playing greatly in these events. Why are we not doing that? And it frustrates me because I pointed it out at the end of 20XX, number 4, when they had their prize pool go up from 500 to 1,500. And I was like, I had this aha moment of they're not getting the same amount of money, or they're not getting the same return of an investment with the higher prize pool than what they were doing before. And I'm not sitting here being critical of Dapple Productions because that was just something I noticed at the time. But IPL, the own organization I'm working with, I'm going to be critical of them now because this Superjump was an opportunity for us to reinvest in ourselves and we didn't do it. That's frustrating. And I mean, you look at Dapples. They're literally posting, hey, we want to do another 20XX. We can't because we don't have money. Can we accept some donations with that? It's like, if you just took half of the money you had in the last 20XX, you could have done 2 of them by now. We could have done the same thing with IPL. It's a ball-dropping opportunity. This could have been a game-changing dynamic of how we do this. TOs go out there, and they just get absolutely flamed and dunked on Twitter for aliases? Why? Why are you putting yourselves through that? You got an opportunity to bring some money back into the organization. Make it a little bit more worthwhile. In all honesty, we could have used some of that money to pay for group therapy. And I'm not joking with that. Like, running big events like this is beyond stressful for a lot of TOs. And this was a chance for us to do it, and we didn't. My hope for the next major is that these rules get cleaned up. Yes, the alias things need to be cleaned up. The match canceling things need to be cleaned up. They need to be modernized with what the players want and with what can work out with how the TOs go. But the fact that we're talking about doggone rules is so freaking stupid when we could be talking about, hey, this event was so awesome. Why don't we see more of this events? The reason we don't see more of these events is because we give 100% of the donations to the players and give nothing back to ourselves. That needs to stop. That needs to stop. And there's going to be nobody that's against that. Show me one person who would be against part of the prize money and donations going back to the TOs. One person. You won't find it. And if you do, I guarantee you all the top level players will dog on that person, as will everybody else that pays attention to the scene, because everybody knows it's a one-to-one relationship. We need the players to play in our events and put on the show. JPEG's not out there getting a double wipeout in grand finals. I'm not out there pulling off epic comebacks against Alliance Rogue. Hoen's not out there bringing in 3 people from Japan to be awesome at the events that they're doing right here. Like, the TOs aren't doing that, but we are setting the stage for it to happen. We need each other. And the problem, the people to blame for this mentality is us. Us TOs have been so giving that we haven't been thinking about ourselves. We need to start thinking about ourselves. And I wanted this to be the event where we started to do that, and we didn't. So that's my thoughts on that. I hope this is the last time. I hope this is the last time we don't stop thinking about ourselves. Because it's just not worth it. I'm being honest. I'm going completely off script at this point. But as I'm looking at Twitter over the past weekend, people body shaming other people after they take L's. People just saying that. Now, a lot of the criticism about Alias stuff was fair, but you always see stuff that gets personal. That's not fair. It's just not worth it. Why not start reinvesting in ourselves? Regardless, now that that's out of the way, at the end of the day, this event is all about the teams, the game. The reason we're all here is to watch people play video game at a high level. And wow, did we see some really awesome stuff on stream yesterday over the course of the entire weekend. So let me get off my soapbox. And let's go through the weekly recap, and then we'll talk about how awesome this tournament was from a gaming perspective. That being said, it's time for the weekly recap. SOS number 103. Oh, God, I'm going to talk about this. Right off the bat, we're doing this, huh? You know what? No. Here's who won SOS number 123. Galaxy Squids is your winner to the SOS number 103. I don't care what the official standing is, and quite honestly, I don't even know what the official standing is. But as far as the official Popcast winner of SOS number 123 is, it's the doggone Galaxy Squids. What are you going to do about it? Second place, then by default, goes to One Shot, One Rage. And third place goes to whoever the hell Goo Crew is. Oh, man. Whew. Hammerhead was won by 1989. Yes, I know the song is 1985. Let me just have some fun here. Mako Bracket won by Sub Power Up, and Lantern Bracket won by Forgotten. Who? From the Ink Up, number 40 took place last Friday. It was won by Joe Starfish, Joe Cephalopod, more commonly known as JoJo. Arts and Crafts takes second place. Yeah, nice little Arts and Crafts name there. And Valence took home third place. Now, I don't often talk about FTIU here on the podcast. Nor typically when a new tournament comes out, kind of like see if it's something that's going to stick around. I should have been talking about From the Ink Up for a while now, and it's time they start getting some more bi-weekly recognition here on the podcast. So nicely done to them. Silver Bracket was won by Fried Calamari, and Bronze Bracket was won by Jam. In the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Chicago Bears 41-10. What a crazy week for those two teams. The Chiefs got Taylor Swift, and the Bears got raided by the FBI, or at least their defensive coordinator allegedly did. The Steelers tried to lose their game, but somehow won 23-18 against the Raiders. The Rams play the Bengals tonight. And why there's two Monday Night Football games, I have no idea. But that was your weekly recap. Sponsored by Ludi tonight.
With a very convincing push here, that's making it seem like this is not over. And Jerry Limey Lily is gonna knock
about the The triple hit drag comes out there for him, but the Zuko coming out with the crab as Triple has time to get that Rainmaker. And they get it.
Pumping the crab to try and keep control. Their penalty time is down. Only a few more seconds and the Tactical Rulers will settle the game 9.
Oh my gosh, we're going to a game 9.
Incredible.
Tactical Rulers.
Right when it shows, because I think that's exactly what happened. And there were 2 opportunities for Black Ink Raiders to make their push. We saw the first one.
That is so much range, and if you can find the angle, you can really get it. It doesn't matter if Soup is going to move in, find 2, find 3, now that's 4, that's a delayed wipe. They're a little bit slow on this plan, but the Soup is able.
Ludi Tonight is coming back for this upcoming Ludi season. Kicks off this week. Actually, there's going to be a preview match between the Whip Rays and the Tacta Rulers. If you recall, that was a Div 8 matchup last time that was a reverse sweep. I'm sure the Whip Rays are itching to get an opportunity to get some revenge in that one. It's going to be Wednesday at 10:15 Eastern Time to give you guys a little bit of preview for what to expect this upcoming Ludi season. Ludi Tonight, the official sponsor of today's segment of the Weekly Recap. AM or PM, what do you think? Who's playing competitive Splatoon at 10:15 in the morning? On a weekday? Japan? Good point. Point well taken. Point well taken. So, Superjump. But instead of me just complaining about things, the actual results that took place in this event. I'm going to start off on Saturday because if you've been paying attention to all 3 Super Jumps each year, the format on Saturday has always been different. Super Jump 1, the format was those giant-ass group stages where you had like 8 teams in your group, and if you were a low-ink team, you just got your butt beat in backwards for like 7 straight matches, and it wasn't that fun of a time. The Super Jump 2 was Swiss groups, which on start.gg is actually pretty cool and pretty efficient. It also included a redemption bracket for teams that didn't win their Swiss groups or didn't get like 4 wins or whatever. This time around, it was groups still, but instead of Swiss or just groups, it was double elim groups. If you recall, Stormbreak, which was orchestrated by Toasty, did double elim groups. And one of the issues with that format that I pointed out was one team could prevent you from making alpha bracket as opposed to any other format where 2 teams could prevent you. So if FT Win was in your group and your only way to make alpha bracket is to beat FT Win, you're screwed. So things like that happen a lot. A good adjustment took place here, though, and I really think this is clever. Instead of the losers finals being brought into deciding who makes alpha bracket, if you make losers finals of your double limb group, you're automatically thrown into the redemption bracket where you're going to be playing teams that weren't in your group. So you're going to play somebody different. So somebody new has to knock you out from making alpha bracket. And if you don't make it through the redemption stage, then you go down to beta. I feel like that's a really clever solution to the only flaw that I personally could find with the double M groups things. Now, do I think it's what you're going to see going forward with Superjump? I don't know. I mean, everybody's got their own opinion. The problem with Superjump is it's a best attempt to try to cater to everyone, and there's no way to do that. Low level likes formats, mid level likes nothing but double elimination, and the top level, I guess, likes double elimination as well. So like not everybody likes the same format. So a one size fits all doesn't exist, but I like the fact that this was something different and it worked. Now, it wasn't like as smooth going through because start.gg has issues. But if some of you are wondering why start.gg was used over Battlefy, I can't exactly answer that question. If I could, I would. I know there's a lot of production features that go along with it. But the main thing is, I can say this. From a TOing perspective, you can do a whole lot more from the TO side of things on start.gg than you can on Battlefy. So if you guys notice in the redemption round, it already has it set up. If you win this, you're going straight to alpha. If you lose this, you're going straight to beta. The auto progression is something that start.gg can do, and that's really awesome. On Battlefy, if you make a new bracket, you have to reseed it every single time. So for low ink, we have to seed all 4 groups on Saturday. And on Sunday, we have to seed every single bracket, every single top 32 group. And then when top 32 is done, we then have to manually seed all of alpha and all of beta ourselves. If that was on start.gg, we could just hit go and the thing just takes care of itself. It's awesome. Now, the problem with start.gg is that it sucks. It never does what you want it to do. It's the best format in theory. It's the worst one in practice. But when it actually works, it's amazing. It's just sometimes you literally have to phone call somebody while you're sitting at a McDonald's to get the tournament to start. Yes, that did happen once. So there's some trade-offs with that. But hey, it is what it is. Now, if you played in a LAN, another kind of cool feature of start.gg, if you're doing a LAN, pretty much all LANs are done off start.gg. A main reason being, you could take money on that, where I don't know if you can take money on Battlefy or not, but also, if you guys play at a LAN, you don't interact with start.gg at all. You don't report your own scores. The TOs do everything for you, so you don't have to work through that bullcrap website from the player's perspective. So start.gg for LANs is great. And for the longest time, if you wanted to do ladder, you had to do that. Like Battlefy didn't have a ladder, but now obviously Battlefy has a ladder. So if you want to go through that, it's fine. I don't know what a direct code is either. I didn't play in this event, so I didn't have to worry about that. That being said, let's talk about the winners from the Saturday stage. And delete. Definitely delete that before we go live. Here are my 5 winners from the double elim group stage / redemption. Starting off, number 5, Joe Cephalopod, Joe Starfish. What the hell is going on here? These guys couldn't buy their way back into alpha to grand finals of Little Squid League a month ago, and now all of a sudden they're winning from the Ink Up, and oh, by the way, flexing on all of these teams they have no business flexing on. GG Wasn't Can't Fly Fish. Now, this not so silly kitties LeMayo result, I looked at that and I said, I refuse to believe they swept the Not So Silly Kitties, and that is not the case at all. They actually DQ'd. Because I was like, man, they almost beat Moonlight. How are they getting swept by JoJo? So that's the context for that. But still, that doesn't discredit all these other solid wins that they got across the board here. Making their way into alpha bracket now, you people are going to be saying, well, if you made alpha bracket of this tournament, does that mean you're banned from that tournament? We've been telling you guys for the longest time, placements does not equal results. While there's some great results here, you can't just look at the placements of alpha bracket and seed things off of that. You got to look at who they actually beat. JoJo got the job done in this tournament. Number 4. Give me Crossfire. And no, I'm not just doing this because Hawken is in chat. I already had this tab pulled all the way up. But Crossfire has been making some noise in SOS tournaments that they've been playing in. I believe some Squid Junction as well, but they really did a fantastic job in this tournament. Vivid, Narwhal frickin' Gaming, Sonder, I'm assuming that's a DQ because there's no result right there, but it looks like they beat Sonder straight up in pools as well. Inked Ominous. This is a very good day for Crossfire. I see you. 13th place out of 155 teams, seeded number 47. When I talked about teams that were going to pop off, this is the team I should have mentioned. They finished well above their seed. My bad, Crossfire, but I see you guys now. Number 3. Give me Surf and Turf. That's right. The team who has been playing in low ink since I was playing in low ink continued to grow in the right direction. Zero Luck Found, fellow Alpha Bracket rival, get out of here. 3-0 Inked. We're going to beat you 3-1 even though you're going to come back and beat us. Secret Elixir, 3-0. Is that legit? That is crazy. So Surf and Turf, seeded 75th, placed 33rd overall. Now that's like tied with 2 gazillion other teams for 33rd, but still, this is a great result for Surf and Turf. They're not just we're going to do a good job in Minnow Cup. Oh, we're going to flirt with winning low ink. No, we're going to play in other tournaments and we're going to flex on some people. Nicely done, Surf and Turf. Number 2, and this should be no surprise to anybody. Nope, I buried the lead. We'll go back to this one. This is number 2, Rapid. I knew Rapid was going to pop off. Whenever I talk about hunters versus the hunted, the number 1 hunter team in this community is Rapid. They really don't give a damn about who they're playing against. I've been talking about Rapid since they were popping off, threatening to knock off some strong teams in the Ink TV Resurgence League qualifier. Now, Rapid does have this vulnerability of losing the teams that, quite honestly, they have no business losing to, but at the same time, they're going to beat some really strong teams like a Brian, Mecca, Chris, and Benji pickup 3-1. Woo! Now, this one-shot, one-rage team, you would think they'd be a little bit more competitive result-wise against them with the result that they got right there. But this is why... Oh, they actually played below their seed. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But still, put some respect on Rapid's name. I knew they were going to get a monster upset, and they did. But last but certainly not least, the biggest winner from the group stage Saturday. As much as I hate to admit it, Triggerfish Zone Supremacy had the best Saturday. These guys popped off, got some clutch wins against the scrappy Persistence team, but more importantly, this win right here, a 3-0 sweep against Belgica, was very notable. And my goodness, if you're going to lose to a team, for the love of God, do not go on Twitter when they're celebrating and call the captain of this team fat. I would not do that. That is an easy way to just wave a giant flag that says, I want to lose a second time. And oh my God, did they? Because it turns out in game 3 as they were losing, one of these players raged quit so that they didn't show up on the app. Ouch! So there you go. Triggerfish Zone Supremacy. By default, the number 1 team from the Saturday stage. Now, let's look through the brackets on Sunday. Starting with Epsilon on down. Now, Epsilon and Delta brackets were Swiss groups. Now, the cool thing, I kind of mentioned auto progression when it comes to start.gg. I love how start.gg does Swiss. So in Battlefy, you got to wait for everybody and their mom to finish before you can start the next round. Here, or at least in the past, correct me if I'm wrong, Start.gg, if the opponent it wants you to play is ready for the next round, it'll just auto force that into you. So like you'll just start playing as your matches is ready, as opposed to, well, we got to wait for everybody in this round to finish before we can start the next round. So that's nice. That saves frames. It gets you to a next frame rule a little bit quicker if it goes through it just like that. As far as Epsilon bracket is concerned, Whip Rays took care of business, going 12-3 in their games and 5-0, a perfect 5-0 in the Swiss stage right here. Now, the Whip Rays had some awkward situation where somebody was like flexing that they beat them on Twitter. It's like, okay, weird. But the Whip Rays, for whatever, like people were doubting them after Riptide, I guess. They're still a strong team. They showed it right here, winning Epsilon bracket, dropping only 3 games the entire way there. And I think that's the only thing. Oh, also Bloop Troop. Shout out to whoever Bloop Troop is. It's awfully close to Sploot Troops. But we need more, now that Destiny Troops are not a thing, we need more troop-related teams. And Bloop Troop can hold the title for that right now. That's really all I got to say about Epsilon bracket. I honestly don't know what teams think of this. I feel like the Swiss stage for day 2 in the lower brackets went over well last time, and I think more teams wanted it. You played at Baki? Hold on, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, that's I assume people like it other than the double limb thing, but I don't know. I haven't looked at the feedback for these lower brackets specifically. If I'm the Whip Rays, I probably love it. Delta bracket, pretty much the same thing. Still the same kind of format right here all the way through. You got a little bit of a stronger presence of teams somewhat. I mean, it's not like there's a clear, distinct difference between Epsilon and Delta. Same with Low Ink. It's just more of like, oh, my group landed in this favor to where I landed in the spot over the other one. However, I will say, pat on the back to My Lag Paradise, who had the best Sunday in My Lag Paradise history. And I would know because I've seen pretty much every single one of their Saturday results, because they're always playing in Low Ink on Sunday, I should say. So this is a really good Sunday. 5-0, 12-2 across the games against some strong teams. Forgotten, I said, won a Lantern bracket. Who? Zestfest has won a Little Squid League. Pond Duck Crew has been a strong, if they weren't banned from exceptions here, but if Pond Duck Crew wasn't banned from Little Squid League, they were close to it as well. So this is a solid group. I mean, as you look over it, Might Like Paradise should be winning this one, but still, you got to give them some credit here. It's not it's My Like Paradise. They are your Delta champions. Well, let's start looking at some double limb groups here, because this is where the real meat and potatoes of this one is. Now, there's no Low Ink this month. So what is the Low Ink bracket? There is no Low Ink bracket if we're looking at through this. This is the get banned from Low Ink bracket, because there are some teams here racking up a lot of results that are basically saying, tell me you want to get banned from Low Ink without saying you want to get banned from Low Ink. Don't DM me, show me. And I'm not saying like any of these teams did or didn't get banned, because we haven't discussed it as staff yet. But as I'm looking at Eepy Dreepy, I was like, well, that's just the cute team name. I remember talking about them in Low Ink. I don't remember them destroying everybody in their path. The Final Reckoning, Sea Bunny Plush 3-0, taking the archive to a game 5. What happened to Eepy Dreepy? I thought they were just cute. No, they're feisty. Okay. Beating Zero Luck Found. You can't see the result because my webcam's in the way. They beat Zero Luck Found twice. 3-1 here in the loser's bracket, 3-1 here in the winner side of the bracket before losing to the archive 3-0 in grand finals. Another team you got to give a little bit of credit to, Zero Luck Found. Another regular alpha bracket low-level team, quote-unquote low-level team who just went on an absolute tear through this tournament. The only team that could beat Zero Luck Found was a fellow low-link team, EP Dreepy. Everybody else, Future Sight, goodbye. Trip Hazard, tell us what mid-level is like. We'll see you soon. Thimbo, IHOP 2-0, get out of our face. C Bunny Plush 3-0, goodbye. Wow. Zero Luck Found and EP Dreepy. I see you in this gamma bracket. I see you, and everyone else does as well. Now, the Archive should have won this bracket, and they did. They absolutely did. In fact, they did it with only dropping 2 games to EP Dreepy before in the rematch they 3-0'd them. But Thimble, IHOP, Heaven's Reflection, Future Sight, like this isn't, it's not like these were cupcakes they were playing. This Thimbo IHOP Archive set should have been closer, in all honesty. But the Archive taking care of business. And what is their roster like? I think Dio left. So the Archive is Ali, Payne, Nox, Bronze, and Echo. But Nox was commentating, so I don't think Nox was playing with that one, if that's the same Nox. But still, a solid result across the board for them. And nicely done, Archive. Taking care of business, winning the bracket they're supposed to win. And again, EP Dreepy and Zero Luck Found. Yeesh. If there's any week to flex, it's this week, past weekend, and this upcoming week. There's some flexing going on right there. I guarantee you everyone in the seating council is going to make note of that. Beta bracket. It would have been great if Sonder actually played this one, but they got Dairy Queens right here. I'm assuming they just weren't available to play or didn't check in or whatever. Boomer Maneuvers. Interesting name there. Actually, it looked like a lot of these beta bracket teams didn't really play. I wonder if there's some well, I shouldn't speculate, but there's always this, in the past, the beta bracket of Superjump hasn't been well participated in because it's usually been filled with teams that were wanting to make alpha bracket. And it's like, am I really going to show up tomorrow to play in a bracket I don't really care about? I'm not saying that's the case at all. In fact, I'm saying it's not the case because there's only a handful, only 4 teams dropped from the beta bracket. So most of these teams actually played straight up. The teams I want to talk here in beta. First off, give it a shout out to the Not Silly Kitties, who I believe announced today that they weren't going to be playing, that they were going to play in Ludi, but not going forward. For a team called Not Silly Kitties, and if you're wondering why they're in beta bracket and not alpha, they probably could have made an opportunity to make alpha, but they had to drop after winners finals of their group in day 2, which is why JoJo got the spot over them. But they took care of business here. Look, they didn't drop a game all the way through losers bracket. Who beat them? Why'd they end up in losers? Oh, Sequoia. Sequoia was not having it at the start of this tournament. 3-0, and then Not So Silly Kitties said, all right, let's get serious here. 2-0. Persistence, Sonaria, Bad RNG, Inked, Assault and Pepper, which is a solid win. Assault and Pepper's a tough team to beat nowadays. Torrent, Sequoia, you can't see it again because of my webcam, but they played Sequoia in loser semifinals, but didn't really because Sequoia had to drop. I guess they ran out of subs or something. And then Frostburn beat them 3-0. But the Silly Kitties are not done. I'm pretty sure they're still playing in Ludi one more season. And hey, we got to give them an opportunity to try to win Div 4 again. Wouldn't that be a great story? Now, Frostburn is the team that deserves a little bit of recognition here as well. Their roster being, no, that's Spark. Of course, I got to give a shout out to Frostburn because they got my favorite Splatling player on it. And Frostburn had a really good run throughout this entire tournament as well, not just in Delta bracket. Spate Esports, that seems like a drop. That is just 3-0. Get your money up. Got a nice win against him. Couldn't get the business done against Shark, but they still beat a bunch of other teams. Okay, there's a straight win against Spate Esport there as well. So Frostburn, haven't been paying attention to them much because I don't really get to see EU a whole heck of a lot, but they were clearly the second best team that they got here. And that's the wrong kind of bracket right there. The only team who beat Frostburn the first time, it was Spark. So the only team that really caused issues for Frostburn, other than Got Milk, was Spark, who is the team that you would assume, especially with Sonder not being here, Frostburn would win. Spark is the team that should be winning this bracket when you look at who's here. But Frostburn made sure it wasn't an easy run for them. Now, Spark, you would like to see them play in Alpha bracket. The problem with Spark was they had to go up against that 0077 team, which upset pretty much everybody. I'm just going to check. What is the seed? What seed did Spark ultimately end up getting? They got 17th seed. So they were seeded to make Alpha bracket. And they ended up playing this 007 team, which was seeded 16th. Okay, so that's still a close matchup. That explains why I was on stream. But there you go. EU looking really strong in that beta bracket, even if some teams weren't playing in that one as well. Okay, let's take a look. This is another reason why I don't like start.gg. I get lost all the time, but that's just me. I guess it all is worth noting that when Spark and Frostburn are playing, it's like, what, midnight for them in those grand finals? Midnight, 1 a.m. While the rest of us North Americans are just sitting here kicking back and enjoying everything in the middle of Sunday afternoon. Alpha brackets. And there is, this is nice. There's some real meat and potatoes going on here in this alpha bracket. All of the top 6 teams were really fantastic here. New Generation, 0077, Crush Soda. So where do we want to start here? I want to start with Crush Soda. Because at what point do you call your team the same name that you always call it and call it some sort of pickup name like Grape Soda or Fanta or something like that? Like, when do you change the name when your roster's different? Because as Thunder was pointing out, and as we were seeding these guys, I pointed this out as well. It was like, that's not Crush Soda. Like, that's Goss and Wave with Zero and gosh, I forget who their fourth. Bursty was their fourth, but there's no Thunder, and I don't even know who their official fourth is, if they even have an official fourth. If this is a legit team or just like a group of friends that play together, I don't know. But that's not the same Crush Soda that 3-0'd Starburst in PAX West. It's not. Does that discredit the win that anybody got against them? No, of course not. But that doesn't mean that their roster. It just, you look at Crush Soda and you expect one thing, and it's completely different. It's like you drink a can of Crush Soda and it's orange juice, and it's like, well, I kind of like orange juice, but I wasn't really expecting that. Still, a strong win for anybody that got a win against them, including 0077, who was the Cinderella team of the evening. A fantastic results for these players. I don't think anybody knew who this player was, aka now known as Aka. And Sam Mikado, I feel like I haven't said that player's name in a long time, but they ripped everybody. Moonlight knocked them out of the tournament. Now, Moonlight had to use a sub. I'm not being a Moonlight apologist. I'm just stating that as a fact. That's still a solid win for them. 2-1 against Crush Soda on stream. The only team to really cause them issues was Jackpot, and they did take a game off of Pixio Floppa, didn't they? Yes, they did. They did take the one game off of them on stream. Seeded 16th, finishing in the top 4. Look out, because these guys are signed up for Ludi as well. So, what div do you put that team in? Take a guess. But bless the hearts of everyone else that's got to play against them, because these guys clearly are not afraid of anyone that they got to go up against. Next, Alliance Rogue, who ended up in third place overall in this event. They get the bronze medal. This is good for Alliance Rogue. Ever since Ink TV, the expectations for Alliance Rogue have been here. And ever since Ink TV, the results for Alliance Rogue have been like here. They haven't been up to where we thought Alliance Rogue was going to be since then. Some of that is, I think, Volti not playing in all the events with them. Some of that it might be people starting to catch up to the Carbon Roller comp that might have caught some people by surprise in the Ink TV League. But this is a huge, huge result for Alliance Rogue that gets them back on the track that we were kind of hoping that they would be at the end of Ink TV. Nobody, like, they had a legit shot of winning this one. They beat the Pixio Flop in a game 5. They took Jackpot to a game 5 in winners finals. And man, they're going to be really kicking themselves because this is a counter pick format. Alliance Rogue won game 1, which in a best of 5 of counter picks, winning game 1 is massive. They won game 3, which is massive. They were up 2-1 and they got to control the counter pick in game 5 and they still couldn't get the win. That was their best opportunity to beat Jackpot, and they just couldn't get the job done. They had everything working into their favor because of how well they played early in the set. They just couldn't seal the deal, and they're going to be kicking themselves for that because this grand final spot was theirs for the taking, and Jackpot stole it from them. For grand finals, Pixio Floppa being the Kyo with the monsters from Japan playing in this event. Obviously, they did a fantastic job all the way through in this one. And there were some points in this grand finals where I thought, okay, there's no way they're going to find ways to make all the adjustments they need and they're going to win this tournament. And Jackpot completely shut it down. Just everything that was on stream yesterday was absolutely bonkers and extremely entertaining. So many 1-point wins, come from behind wins, game 5 sets back to back to back. At one point in grand finals, the set was tied 1-1 in the middle of the game 3. Both teams are wiped out at the same exact time. Like, you can't get more competitive than that. That is awesome to see. You just got a bunch of teams that are all right with each other. This is parity. And this is great. This is you don't know who's going to win. Jackpot's the favorite, but when all these games are going to a game 5 and they're all just 1 point here or there's the difference between who wins these things, that's what makes it exciting. And that's also what makes it so impressive in this game 5 between Jackpot and Pixio Floppa when they go to Crab Leg, Clam Blitz. And they're using S-Tint, the Sorella tint. In a critical game 5, they just pull out something they've been working on. Now, there's always been this conversation about why do top-level players hide their scrims, or they don't want people to figure out what their comp is because they don't want everyone to see. And we're all like, we all know you're just going to use Junior, or you're going to use InZap, and you're going to use Splattershot and Ballpoint. Like, why are you trying to hide what we know you're actually going to do? Because there's this one very specific instance where they can make you go, what the hell is that? There's a tint being used by the shooter / Nautilus main in this critical game 5 on a brand new map. Can you imagine the guts it takes to do that, to make that call from Jackpot? And here's the thing. This is a game 5 of a grand finals. Yes, Jackpot had that buffer of falling back to a bracket reset if it didn't work out. But I don't think this is a hot take to say. If Pixio Floppa forces the bracket reset, I think they win. I think they win like 3-1. I think they take control of that bracket reset. Why? Because every major leading up to this point has had one thing in common. When the teams from Japan play the teams from North America on the same map twice, they do something different. They make the adjustment, and North America keeps picking the same damn maps over and over and over and over again. Like they're, we beat them last time, we're just going to beat them again this time. FT-Win made that mistake. Starburst made that mistake. I wonder if Jackpot would have done the same exact thing if we got him to a bracket reset. So that just puts even more like, wow, you're going to use S-Tint on a brand new map in this kind of scenario, and you're going to win. Now, was S-Tint the main factor in them winning? I don't know. I'm not. That's for the gym squid schools and the FLCs to kind of break down. I'm just saying the guts to make that decision, knowing what's on the line, and it worked. That was incredible. By the way, Jackpot played everybody that finished in the top 6. They finished number 1. Teams 2 through 6, they played every single one of them. New Generation finished top 6. 007, 4th place. Crush Soda, top 6. Alliance Rogue, number 3. And Pixel Floppa, number 2. The Jackpot didn't dodge anybody. They literally played the toughest opponents that you could. They didn't benefit at all being the number 1 seed. They literally played the hardest schedule of anybody, and they beat everyone. They didn't drop a single set. In fact, they had more issues running up against Octopi than some of these other teams, it seems like. So that makes this run even more impressive by Jackpot. And that is why, regardless of all the bullcrap that goes on in the social media world, when you pull aside and you look at what actually happened in the tournament, that is what needs to be focused on, because you saw some really damn good competitive Splatoon over the course of this past weekend. And that does it for today's episode of the Popcast. We have 618 teams to start seeding, and let's not waste any time. We'll hop on it. I will be back for the next episode of the podcast next week, breaking down the Ludi Divs. Ludi Divs are scheduled to come out at some point on Saturday. So I'll be back on Monday to share my thoughts on it and give you guys a little bit of peek behind the curtain of some things that go on with the seating council that I can. Between now and then, if you'd like to be a part of the podcast in any way, feel free to reach out my socials below. Twitter, Mr._Popgun. Discord, Popgun, #5882. YouTube, actually, Discord's just Popgun right now. YouTube at 25 Popgun. Twitch at Popgun25. Whatever, Popgun. Popgun this, Popgun that. Yada, yada, yada. Let's find somebody to raid. You know, this person isn't Splatoon related, but they're really good at F-Zero. So just enjoy that. Just enjoy somebody just winning F-Zero. It's an invalid username. There's 3 eyes in that. Hey, make sure you get vaccinated, wear a mask, stay safe. Don't use aliases in tournaments, I guess. I don't know. Use them. I don't care anymore. I don't care. Enjoy some F-Zero. This person's pretty good.